Hey everybody, welcome back to magFAST 2021, our little virtual event, which has been going great all weekend. If you're just joining us, we are doing some awesome speed runs to raise money for Child's Play, which is a fantastic charity with a great mission, bringing joy and therapy and distraction to kids in hospitals and other rough situations through games and technology. Up next here, we have a run of The Messenger by Miller2B. Miller, if you'd like to introduce yourself, your commentator, and your game.
Will do. All right, how's it going, everybody? My name is Miller2B. I will be running the Messenger. This category is the 8-bit new game, no out of bounds category. And what that means exactly is that in this game, at the start of the game, you start out in 8-bit, but a little bit halfway through the game, you transfer into a 16-bit aesthetic music part of the game. This run just covers the initial 8-bit portion. And it's no out of bounds. There's a lot of no out of bounds opportunities in this run or in this game. I'm sorry, but we won't be using any of those. We'll just be doing straight platforming and jumping and grappling hooking and the like. Um, so I will be doing all of the playing. I will not be doing much talking. I will be leaving that for my commentator here, Minus. Minus?
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Minus, and I will be doing a lot of the talking while Miller2B does a lot of the running. So we'll probably jump right into it. Miller, you want to do countdown? You want me to do it?
You can count me down.
All right. I'll count you down from 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And we're off. Let's jump in here. So The Messenger, wonderful little game from Sabotage Studios, came out in 2018 for the Switch and then branched out to the rest of the consoles later on. We are jumping right into it. New game, as Miller had pointed out, means that you just start the game from a fresh file. You have no upgrades, nothing to work with yet. So we'll be going through this game as normally intended. So with just some jumps, some strikes, some cloud steps. That's about all you got to work with in the beginning. And that's what this first part in Ninja Village is. About 1 minute and 43 seconds of running to the right and quickly skipping through text. This will also be a no out of bounds run, as was mentioned, so we're not going to be clipping through any static meshes, anything like that, in order to get through the game faster, so everything mostly as intended. So, really some of the only few things that you can speed through in this part is that right there where the fireballs are coming down. You can do some slight inputs to make Ninja jump backwards less. Otherwise, we're walking through this. So we are showing off there's one homie shard to kind of get us through, paying forward to soldier who you won't see. So we are meeting with the Western hero here. We will talk nothing about that. If you are interested in playing this game, you'll be happy to know that there should be little to no spoilers in this run. And with that, Ninja Village is done. And we get to actually start this run. Oh, I accidentally rhymed. Okay, so Autumn Hills, or more affectionately referred to as Reset Hills, is where we start, like, really moving with this run. So here it's about. I'm actually going to see here. Okay, no. Okay, so it's about climbing. It's about optimal movement, and it's about hoppin' tunes. We're actually really happy that the music is so good in this game, especially in this level, because you'll hear it a lot in your time running it. You'll be spending a lot of time in this level as you reset over and over. So we're going to come through and hit our first shop. You hit here at 35 shards, which is perfect, which means you didn't have to go all the way to the wall, and you can come right into the shop. So we're going to come in and pick up our first mandatory upgrade, which is the climbing claws, and then our first optional upgrade, which is the ability to attack enemy projectiles. Now that's going to let us do a couple things: get the projectiles out of our way, and also get cloud steps off of them. And you're going to see us use that a lot in order to go fast, like right there. So time shard management is really big, especially in these earlier runs, because we are trying to go as fast as possible, but there are upgrades we want to get in order to continue going fast and faster and faster and faster. So there you go, right thoughts. As we're trying to do it with damage boost and get to the right. So there are several key moments in this run where you're going to be doing checks and making sure that you get enough time shards for that moment. You need 40 by the first shop, 130 by the second, and then so on. We'll get to them as we get there. As we are one to do in this run, we like to shout out to the composer of this game, Rainbow Dragon Eyes, especially in this section, the composer and the sound engineer, doing really neat things like creating that muffle effect on the music as Ninja goes underwater. It's a neat little soundtrack that is fun to listen to even in the car when you're driving, as I have done once or thrice. The next big trick that's coming up is actually going to be what we call Spike Tower. So we're going to pop here, say hello to our lifeguard, and we're going to see Miller's going to go for the setup, and nails it beautifully. So that saves a couple of seconds from having to go underneath and instead hopping over. I like that, the little drop there. Hopping over the Spike Tower. And it actually looks a lot scarier than it is, but who am I kidding? It's pretty scary. Alright, so we're going to move through here. Some of these rooms, that was cool, some of these rooms run on a bit of cycles that you're trying to keep an eye out for. That particular spike ball is running as soon as you get in there. So if you can maintain your movement, you will be able to get there just the right spot where you don't have to worry about it and you keep going. This little swing right here, you try to make optimal movement to catch it. There's another neat skill here where you saw Miller try to spin around real fast and do something akin to a turtle boost, which is more advanced tech for spinning around real quickly and trying to get momentum, but we're using in that case to try to get a cloud step, but it was unsuccessful. We'll keep moving through to kind of the last section of Autumn Hills. This is a nice little U room here. And around this time is kind of where I start checking my time shards and I look, all right, so how many do I have? I usually like to see about 120 or so by the time I get here. And as you can see, Miller doing a few things is actually super rich. And we like that. We like the way that feels. And so we're going to go through this last room and then hit the shop. We'll pop inside and grab 2 more upgrades, which are going to help us later. So one is going to be the shurikens, and one is going to be the aerial recovery. So aerial recovery is going to help in a lot of ways, but the shurikens are going to help right now, because with the shurikens and consistent hits, we're actually going to be able to take out this boss in one cycle, and that's what we're hoping for. So let's see. We say hi to our Leaf Golem buddy, kind of teaches us what this game's really going to be about, levels and bosses. Just like that. You do it's pretty consistent. The damaging is, the input can be buffered a little bit, and there's really no mashing to it, so it's about knowing that rhythm. But if you got the rhythm and you can throw the shurikens in between that rhythm, you'll get it every time. We're coming into Forlorn Temple, which is actually a very difficult level. But in this run, you are not going to see it. So we're going to move on to Catacombs. Hello, Necro. I missed you. Necro, one of the phobicans that you pick up throughout the game in order to progress later on. Again, as part of this 8-bit, you're not going to see the rest of them, so Necro is probably the only one you'll see. So Catacombs is a huge cycle level. We've got cycles, we've got some tough skips we're going to try to pull off, and we got an RNG boss. So, hi Ruxton! Speaking of which, our buddy Ruxton. We're just hoping he's going to be nice to us today. We come into his first forced encounter, where we just got to clear out these enemies and keep going. There's a neat strat in this room for trying to skip a cycle, but it's pretty advanced. Miller choosing to opt out of it and instead do it normally, waiting on this cycle. Woo! There you go. Ducker Z for our little spike ball dodge right there. And then we'll go through some of the cycle areas. So a lot of what you're going to see in a couple of rooms is just a lot of this. It's trying to be consistent with your movement and skipping the cycles that you're shooting for. Nothing too big for a second, so if there are any donations, this could be a good time for a couple.
Sure, we have $15 from Rip Salty, who says, "Where's my PB? You get another 15 if you do it." We have $10 from Z, who says, Teehee, you're my favorite Mega Man. And $20 from Neil Kilgore. Thank you, Neil.
So this is the next cycle room here, which I think was probably one of the first cycles I ever learned, was doing that one. And then there's a couple options in this second part. We're choosing to opt to the damage boost, which means you'll see a slight alteration in the following room for picking up the health, because we're going to want to do that again. We're going to do another damage boost in a bit. So we'll go to the right here, grab some health, and continue on. So the next in a coming up room, we're going to have one of the big skips of this stage, and we'll see if Miller goes for it. It's a cutscene skip for the second Ruxton part. We see the setup. Oh, so close. Okay, so what you're shooting for is something called the Badonkadonk. And what you shoot for is you try to drop down with that cloud step and jump at just the right angle at the right time where... There you go. Where you actually hit that top right lantern, get cloud step, and you can actually cloud step and jump over the cutscene trigger and continue on. Saves a good 12 seconds or so from having to wait for the cutscene and then killing the enemies. But otherwise, we move on. We go through the final section of Catacombs here. There's some really fun ascents. I love this room in particular for the way that you can just cloud step and keep moving up. It's really a fun room to optimize. We have some drops here, and in the next room will be another cycle skip we're going to shoot for. There's a really scary way to do it, there's a normal way to do it, and then there's a way where you die. This is the normal way, and well done. Yeah. Funny enough, we say it's the normal way, but still, especially in the second half of that room, your movement has to be just about spot on, or you will not make that cycle. I saw a question in chat about why is it called Badonkadonk, and that is a long story, but not a complicated one. Just know that it was a series of names that got us there. Oh, hi Ruxton, this is what you want to see. So there's two places that the boss could have spawned, and that was either at the top or on the bottom, kind of where he's at right now. Top's what you want to see. That's a free 8-second time save if you get him up there. And then after that, it's about how well do you get the fight, and that fight was done very well, so good job. We're going to move on to the next stage, which is Bamboo Creek. Bamboo Creek is a nice little vacation stage. The really neat cadence of levels, especially in 8-bit, is you do a level or two, you pick up some new strats, or you get some new skills, and then you have a level like Bamboo Creek, which it doesn't introduce too much new. It kind of works to hone the things that you picked up before, brings you some more of those things you saw, and really tests the abilities that you learned in a level or two before. So that's what this level is. I was going to do a song and got too excited about talking about the level, but I'll have another opportunity. We'll tell you about the Song of Our People later. Until then, it's a couple of cycles. Those demon heads actually have a very interesting cycle, where the first time you enter a room when you load the stage, the cycle will be exactly the same. After that, it is random, which actually makes it very hard to practice, because the only way to get the same cycle back is to quit and reopen the save. So we'll come through to our first questionable. There you go. It's questioned like, oh, hey, you went out of bounds. Like, not really. Don't worry about it. We're going to come to the next room. The next room here, which is probably the biggest skip here in Bamboo Creek. Referred to as the Into skip, named after the runner who found it, and beautifully done. Follow up, and that's a fast way to do that room. Very well done. Oh, love this place. I like to eat Chinese food. Chinese food is yummy too. If you like me to, you will bring me Chinese food because it is so yummy. Did I mention I like Chinese food? And then you just kind of learn that. So I love to bring up the lyrics because those lyrics are actually given to us by Rainbow Dragon Eyes, the composer of this song, and told us that those are the official lyrics for the song. So we believe them. 241 shards coming into the waterfall is a little low. You're shooting between 251 and 254. So when you see the waterfall and you get to that point, you can realize, oh, I need more or less time shards. So 251 is the perfect amount to hit all three of those lanterns coming down. Helen Grotto. This is where we're going to get some new tech. We're going to come here. We're shooting for, it's 275. So 275 shards exactly to pick up our wingsuit. And 2 upgrades. We're going to get the ability to swim fast, which you'll see once in this run, and the ability to attack while gliding. And you kind of attack downward, which will actually get us some really cool movement from here on out. So we're going to see some fun times. Grotto is just... Grotto's just it can be a pretty tough level. Some unforgiving spots with death pits, spikes all over the place. This particular spot right here, which is really fun to do and really hard to optimize. We'll move through. There are a couple of quick rooms throughout this stage. We're going to see one fairly shortly. But otherwise, it's just a lot of corner cutting and being able to use the new abilities to just kind of get through rooms even faster. You'll take a listen to the music, and you'll hear it in the next room, but you'll hear a hey, and I'll mention that in a second. So we're going to come through what we call the DK room to see if we can get the DK skip. And and there's the bump there. So it needs perfect movement to beat the cycle. We didn't get it, so you'll see Miller wait. And the saw blade that he's behind, you'd be able to get in front of and get a little bit faster through the room if the movement is perfect on that. We had heard a hey while I was explaining that. That's actually a collection of, I think, all the devs for the game, all speaking together and kind of capturing that hey that they've added into a couple of songs, which actually makes for a great meme run if you ever go look for it. There is a hey % run. What we shoot for and how we kind of gauge how fast we do this level is if you hear the next hey. So we'll keep playing through, and if you hear the next hey, that kind of gauges, or at least helps you tell how well you did the level. So if we try to actually get to the end before hearing the next hey, and we call that the hey skip. And that's how we kind of know we did a really, really good grotto. I say that, I don't think I've ever gotten a hey skip myself. So if that tells you anything, that's because I'm slow. Last section of grotto here. We'll come through some really neat rooms. And you'll see a lot of ops for damage boost too, especially through the green kappas because they take more hits than anything else to kill and they slow you down. So we'll just opt to damage boost through them sometimes. Wait for it. Hey, and there it is. So you saw a hey in the room right before shop. So pretty standard grotto. And we come into the next boss. So the boss of grotto, which is the Emerald Golem. This is a counting boss I like to think about. We've got, as long as you can count to 8-ish, you should be alright. We want to do 8 hits on that core there, so you do 7, and then you throw a shuriken for the 8th, which allows you to be on the side when the hit happens to maximize how long you spend up top. You do it well, you can 2-cycle the first stage. And if we get through this looked clean, so that should finish the boss off. And then we'll go into phase 2, which is another 8 hits on just the core that will float out of the golem. There's a little bit of RNG in which direction they go, left versus right. So you opt to try to do the damage, figure out where they go, and react. There is some minor improvements you can make to this last part, because the higher you're up on the screen when the boss ends, the longer it takes you to float down, and the dialogue will not start until you touch the ground. So sometimes we try to shoot as best we can to be as low on the screen as possible, but you of course will opt for a quick death over a longer death just to get lower on the screen. You can kind of weigh that. So very, very good. We'll come into Coolstream now. This is another stage of, all right, we got something new in Grotto. We're going to come into Coolstream now and kind of just show off what we learned with a lot of vertical rooms, just long rooms, and just going to try to keep moving as much as possible. Grotto, not Grotto, we're talking about Coolstream. Coolstream, I remember casually as one of the first big levels I got to. That was just, it was just hard. It's hard. It was a hard level casually when I first started it. A lot of the mushrooms here are brutal, but honestly running it, this has turned out to be one of my favorite levels from just an early movement standpoint. This room, especially being one of the longer vertical rooms in the game of this is how can I keep moving right? The caveat to that, depending on if you pick up the advanced turtle boost strats, but for the most part, that's what you're trying to do, is just how do I keep moving? And that was well done. We do one more thing here. He's going to pick up the safety checkpoint and hop up using the bird to continue on. If you happen to notice sometime, depending on what part of the song you're on, you'll see these mushrooms start to sing along to the music, and it makes me jealous. I wish I could sing like a mushroom. There are a few more segments coming in here. Nothing too big to speak on. We have time for a couple more donations if there are any.
I don't have any more right now, but there is a bid war going on right now for the next run, which is going to be Earthbound coming up here after the Messenger. So if you want to vote on the final party member, you should get those donations in. There's also one last incentive for the Hollow Knight run that we're going to be finishing on tonight to add an extra boss.
Very good. That sounds exciting. Definitely want to get in for those. A couple of things that we had seen here was the use of shurikens. So we talked about shuriken use in the early boss fight, but also in a lot of these levels, especially 8-bit, we actually have our shurikens planned out to the T on how we're going to use them to keep going fast. So in like this stage in particular, we used 2 shurikens in order to open a door in the first part of that room so that we didn't have to jump up there. And we had to set that up the room prior to have the height for it. So let's see, you'll see that again in Tower of Time. That's a big place where all of our shurikens are pretty much counted for. We're in the last segment here. This is a really fun cycle room based on how well your movement is. There's going to be a moving platform with spikes facing down, and depending on your speed, you saw how Miller was kind of thinking about going left, but then because of the speed opted to wait a second and go back right, which was smart, because by the time you're going to get there, you will only have 3 health. Spikes do 3 damage, that equals dead, and we meet Quarble, which we're hoping not to. We'll come into the Queen of Quills. This is a great fight to do, and a tough fight to do well. There are several different ways and patterns to this that we can handle. Basically, we're just trying to adapt based on the direction she goes and trying to just lay damage on her. We want to see no whips, and you got it. That's beautiful. We were able to get after the second drop for her to jump straight to the middle, and death. That's about as clean as can be. The only way it could really be any faster is if RNG was in our favor and we had gone right instead of left. That way Ninja could actually be at the door and save a couple of seconds on the run.
I just want to interject with a quick humble brag. We actually saved more time there because I've gotten to this point without dying. Because if you've died up to this point,
right,
that dialogue at the end is actually longer. So
that's right. That's right. We haven't had the opportunity to meet Quarble yet, but he would add more lines of dialogue if we had. So, lucky us. We're popping in here. About this point, we kind of stopped, at least I do, I stopped counting my time shards because you're going to get enough. You can see we have 44 more than we needed, but we came in here and picked up the last bit, pretty much our last shot for 8-bit. We picked up the rope dart, which is one of the biggest things you can pick up in a run. I mean, look at this. Look at us go. It's all about speeding. RDE at this point now means 2 different things. We got RDE the composer and RDE the acronym. Let's rope dart everything. Along with that, we picked up a couple of health upgrades, including more health and the ability for health to drop from enemy deaths. And we will count on that for some potential strats later on if we happen to get it. If RNG's on our side, we might be able to use that for later skips, depending on how Miller decides to set up those rooms. This is a fun room that we don't even have to think about in this particular run. In any percent, you might be spending a little more time in there doing one of the really neat strats that Rope Dart provides for us. I won't bring it up here, but I will mention that Rope Dart does a lot for us in this game other than making us go fast, and that is it kind of puts things in interesting states. I think there actually is one in this stage. It's either here or we might see it in the next stage of one thing that Rope Dart's really good for. Another thing you'll probably see on this boss, so we'll get to it there. Let's see, there's a setup. Okay, I saw you try to set up for it. It was looking good. We'll do a left side climb for this, the kind of final climb before the boss of Searing Crags. Really fun ascent when you start practicing a lot. It's a lot of fun. We come in to fight Kolos and Susis. Kolos in red, Susis in green for Colossus. I think that's right. And you'll see how Rope Dart can now be used for boss fights, just trying to deal a lot of damage. Helps us stay on the boss, do a lot. And also, Rope Dart actually provides a lot of iframes. You see him a little bit in here, you're going to see him a lot more in the next boss. So this is our big RNG boss of the fight. There are so many decisions this boss can make on which abilities they decide to use. What you don't want to see is a lot of team attacks. What you do want to see is more like whips and rock throws. And even then it kind of depends on their positioning and how long the rocks stay on. But we saw Kolo should be dead now. Susis is mad about that. We'll see a rock. That's good. So the rock just needs to finish up. And he knows, okay, I guess we're done. Hop up, and the fight's over. So all in all, pretty good. That's what you're shooting for. And I see some of the Bamboo boys popping into the chat, showing up to support us. Always good to see them. Hi, Levy. I miss you.
We did just get a $50 donation from KF, who just says, "Good luck, Miller."
Good luck, Miller. Shovel, please, in chat for Glacial Peak. This would be a really nice level. So this has to be probably one of my favorite 8-bit levels. It's right kind of near the end of the run. We have all the upgrades that we're gonna get, and this kind of brings together everything that you've picked up. It's not about it being difficult, it's about being fast. How fast can we climb up this mountain? And it's just designed in such a way it makes it feel very fun to do it. So we're just going to kind of enjoy this nice, cool, and refreshing ascent up the mountain. And if we have any additional donations, this is a good time to just hash out a chunk of them.
Waiting for my page to refresh, sorry. Looks like we're good for now, but really appreciate those donations, everybody. It goes to a really great cause.
Absolutely, really appreciate everyone here watching, supporting. Means a lot to all of us. We're going to come into a checkpoint room here with a mysterious wanderer that you may have noticed back in Bamboo. Don't worry about him. Lore, who needs that, right? Not a speed run. We'll climb up through this nice section. A couple of really fun ways to get through this room. There's just, all of these rooms just have such fun strats in them. The next room coming up, I'm especially excited about. I want to see, because I'll explain it if we get the strat. Very well. Awesome. Okay, so what you saw there was what we call a teleport. Or a Justin port named after the runner who kind of really narrowed down and finalized the tech. But as we mentioned, Rope Dart gets to do a lot of really cool things for you. And one of the things is it likes to ensure that you actually finish the animation and kill the enemy that you're Rope Darted on. Can't always guarantee it, but in a really neat state right there, you actually Rope Dart an enemy. But if the enemy dies while you're rope darting to it, then it's going to be making checks to see, like, is there an enemy there, or how should it behave? And while that's happening, if another enemy of the same type's coming on screen, the game can be fooled into thinking that's who you actually rope darted, and it will essentially move you very fast to them. It's so fast we call it a teleport. So what we do is we throw a shuriken, or more commonly we slash and then rope dart, and the slash animation stays out in front of us and makes the kill before the animation finishes. And that's how we set up teleports a lot of the time. Tower of Time. Tower of Time Loss, Tower of Tears. Give it a name, kind of depends on how it's feeling that day. This is the final stage of this run for 8-bit, and it has earned that title of both the final stage and just the most difficult. Sadly enough, when it comes to later runs, this is a place where it dies right at the end. This is a tough 3 to 4 minutes right here of very challenging rooms. That was really nice. We have lasers everywhere. They do 4 damage each. You've only got 6 health, so yeah, we're seeing a setup to get to this room quickly, knock that guy down, and rope dart through, taking the iframes with us. We'd rather take 1 hit than 4. And we'll keep moving through. We've seen these wizrobes a little bit. They are easily my least favorite enemies in the game at all. They're just RNG the enemy, and I don't like them. And I hope that they do not troll us too much in this run. We'll come through. Oh, try to hop down, but we hopped up. This is a fun cycle room here. Beautiful. That was a really good save there. Come through. We're going to come through this area with 2, so 3 health when we get to the checkpoint. So we won't see any speed tech for this next room. We'll just have to do it intentionally, waiting for the lasers. Depending on the health that you do pick up in the rooms and the damage that you do or don't take, you can actually be set up real well to either with 4 health or with 5 health, just kind of take the damage and jump through quickly, call it the laser skip. Or with 4 health, we'll actually try to damage off those spikes and then run up the walls before the iframes run out, in what we call the French connection. Shouts to the French runners of the game. But it's all health dependent, so a little bit of RNG based on how you set up the level beforehand. We had 2, so we'll just do it normally in that case. We're coming into the last segment of the run. We throw our last shuriken there. You saw them thrown a few more times in the stage, but that one seems we don't have to do that walk of shame all the way across. We have to throw the shuriken. After getting through this strangely, unforgiving room, we'll come through. Wow, okay. So that's a different setup for the Ojos. I think it's the Ojos de Vlak is how that one is, and made more popular by Vlak, one of our top speedrunners for the game, where he rope darts off of the moving platform. That's precise and scary. You come out of there with 1 health, which then you do the next room with the wizrobes. They'll do whatever they want, and that's one of the scariest rooms, I feel, depending on how those wizrobes decide to act. We're doing some backward slashes in here with some precise inputs to make that happen. Kind of just facing away from the wall and then slash jump, kind of in that order. Should make the animation pop behind Ninja and hit the crystal through the wall. We'll do our final laser climb here and do our nice wait before we shift on over to the final boss. So time's going to be coming up at the end of this boss. It'll be on last hit of the boss, so I'll call it when it gets there.
Also, the screen will freeze and the music will cut out. Also, the screen will freeze.
Yeah. So we see the boss coming up, the various hooded individuals doing the thing, as it were. And this boss honestly is pretty straightforward. One of the biggest things that we do is we try to utilize those iframes to be able to stay within that kind of ball necklace and not take any damage from the iframes. The only scary part is when you are reattaching to the head, there's a chance that you could take damage from the ball and not get the iframes, and you just have to react to it. Alright, so we're getting close. Time. That was really good. I see a low mid 32, which is a solid time. What's your PB?
It is 32:35.
So I don't know if you timed this one, but if
I did
you
not.
did,
I totally
is
meant to, and then like halfway through autumn, I was like, wait, I forgot.
yeah, because this was a really good run for you. I'm pretty sure this was a PB for you.
Oh,
Yeah, because RTA I see right there, 32:23.
Yeah, you just PB'd by over 10 seconds, by the way.
oh, my roommate just came in and told me I PB'd by 10 seconds.
Only 10 seconds.
Awesome. That was really good. Well done.
Thank you. I believe someone owes Child's Play another $15.
Oh,
They know who they are. But
all right. There
anyway,
you go.
yep. So that was the Messenger 8-bit new game, no out of bounds. magFAST, thank you for having me. This was super fun. I'm also very ready to take at least a week off of this game because I've been playing it a lot in preparation for this. But as we can see, I PB'd at the marathon, so awesome.
Well,
Oh
there's
yeah,
our
I'm sorry, I forgot. So if you do want to learn this game, we do have a big Discord. Um, super nice people. Like I've only been running this game for 3 months. And just from like the questions I've asked people and just how willing to help they are, I've gotten really decent at this. Um, so yeah, actually there should be a bunch of links in the chat, but if not, then I can just dump a bunch in the Twitch chat. But yeah,
That or just come check out the speedrunning leaderboard, speedrun.com/the messenger. And all the links are over there as well. Very open, very welcome to have anybody who's interested. It's a great run. I absolutely love it.
Well, thank both of you so much, Miller2B and Minus. It's been wonderful to have you guys. That was a super fun run to watch, a new game to me, but really fun glitches there, or not glitches, but necessarily, but the good skips and stuff. Just a few more donations before we go on our break. We did get that $15 from Rip Salty, who said, "You did it. Here's more money."
Wait.
2222 from Kyle Berry, who says, "Let's go, Bamboo Boys." $5 from Ask for Alex. Arcane Golem, I hardly knew him. And $10 from Ed, who says, "Butta dog. Dog with the butta on his head."
Thank you, thank you.
And with that, unless you guys have anything else, any more shout outs, like you said, check out the Twitch chat for links to these guys and the Messenger speedrunning community. Hopefully mods can drop those links. And then up next, we are going to have Earthbound.
All right. Once again, thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks
Yeah,
magFAST
thank you
for
so
having
much.
me,
Have a good rest of
for
y'all's
having
run.
us. And also shouts to Chinese food.